Hello and welcome back to another CM Travels video. Cue the intro. Brings me great pleasure to be talking once again about a Nikon lens. Yes, what we have here is the 20mm F1.8 S lens, and I'm going to put it on the camera so you can have a look at the video quality. First, thank you so much for all of you who have subscribed to the channel. We have hit, I believe, 450 subscribers. That is absolutely crazy. I remember saying thank you in a video not so long ago for getting 75 subscribers, then I did a video on 100 subscribers. So a huge thank you for all of you that have subscribed to the channel. It means a great deal to us, and it means that I can keep striving to bringing you amazing content here at CM Travels. If you're new, hit that subscribe button. Much appreciated. And if you enjoy the content today, hit that thumbs up. And of course, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. You can find out more about CM Travels in the description, in the thingy ding down there underneath there. Go ahead and check that out after the video, of course. But let's get back to this lens. But right now, let's put it on. There you are. So naturally, it is an ultra wide angle lens, 20mm. To give you a hint, 24mm is close to our vision, as wide as we get. So I've changed the angle slightly there for you. I have to move my mic as well, just because I noticed quite a large reflection of the light that I'm using to light the scene, and I thought it would perhaps be a little bit distracting. So I've moved you a little bit over so that you don't have that distraction. But getting back to the 20mm, right? So it has been tested a lot already. It is not a lens that's recently come out, so I do not want to repeat, or I will try not to repeat what other people have said about it. One of its strongest uses is for nightscape photography, and if you haven't seen nightscape photography YouTube channel, check that out up here somewhere, and you'll get in-depth analysis about nightscapes. Now, I've found it quite funny that there was two photos that he showed on that particular video that were really good, but shot with the 50mm f1.8 and shot with the 35mm f1.8. And he went on then to say that the 20mm, what you're seeing me on now, is one of his, if not his favorite lens, for various reasons. But there's a few things that you need to know about this lens before you go running out and buying it for nightscape photography. The first is it is quite a lot bigger than, say, your 35mm, which I've just taken off the camera. This is much more, it's shorter and also not as heavy. But this has a 62mm like circumference, so it takes 62mm filters. The 20mm, I can see it right here, is a 77mm. So your filters will need to change. Now, I'm not sure about the thread size on the 85mm. I'll put it up here for you, but I'm pretty sure it's quite similar to the 35mm. And the 50mm, I'll put that up as well in the 1.8 S line lenses. So if you have filters, whether those are density filters or just UV protection filters, you're going to have to buy different filters for this 20mm. The next important thing to know about this 20mm is that you do get some barrel distortion. Now those, Peter, I know you're going to correct me on this if I'm wrong, but barrel distortion, as I understand it, looks like it gives like a bit of a curved face. And for those of us who need a better understanding, it's that wide angle GoPro camera effect. So if you do get if you are taking images, expect that there is going to be some lens distortion due to Nikon introducing this new 3ED glass element within the lens. They say that they have dramatically reduced the amount of chromatic aberration that they were getting with their old G lens, F mount, of course. To date, this is not only it's the largest of the 20mm that Nikon has ever produced. It is by far and wide the best in terms of chromatic aberration, but it is also more expensive than most of the other S-line lenses. So unless you're using it in a specific way, the 20mm probably isn't going to be the lens that I would suggest that you go and get. You know, there's the wonderful 14 to 30 f4 for things like landscapes. And I also notice, particularly with landscape and night photography, is that there's a lot of people that do stacking, and that this is quite advanced photography, and your everyday user I don't think would be using a 20mm f1.8, if I'm honest. And even then, when they were focusing and stacking, so you focus through the image and you take a whole bunch of images and you put them basically on top of each other, and with software like Lightroom and Photoshop, this is easily done. But focusing on the foreground and light painting and things like that, often you're stopping down to about f4 or even f5 to get really as much of that particular part of your scene into focus, and they even go higher than that. But what the f1.8 does is it allows the sky to be really, really fantastic. And I'm just going to pop up an image that I took in Tromsø in Norway with a 14mm, a Sigma 14mm f2.8 lens on a Canon 5D, the original one, Mark 1. Now this is not a particularly good image, but I just wanted to show you the sky comparatively with, say, the images that you might have seen before. Now, of course, the Canon 5D, while is good, it is not can't compare it to like what I'm filming on now with the Nikon Z6 II, which I'm currently filming on at the moment. They're just worlds apart, literally worlds apart. But the high ISO and the high ISO capabilities of these new Z cameras is insane. And you can really see here, when you can push that ISO so high, the sensor becomes so light sensitive, and the sky really looks magical. But a warning to those of you who are beginner nightscape photographers, this is no easy field. And again, I refer to Peter here. I'm sorry, Peter, I haven't been able to get out and test this 20mm out on the astrophotography. I am going to do it. I still have it for a few more weeks, and I'm really hoping for a clear sky. Unfortunately, we've had cloud and rain and snow here in Switzerland, so I haven't even had a chance to get out and use it, at least in the field. But reporting to you all directly, the lens build is fantastic. The quality and sharpness of the images, from what I have seen so far, is fantastic. And all of these S-line lenses, particularly of course the F1.8 S-line lenses that are Z mounts, have been absolutely amazing, and so far to date have far bettered any of the F-mount lenses that are currently out, at least what they've come out with at the moment. So if you are that kind of a photographer, you're looking for something special in terms of nightscape photography, this is absolutely a lens that I would recommend. If, however, you are not a nightscape photographer, this lens can be very creative for other purposes. I will refer to a huge role model of mine who I look up to as a photographer is David Yarra. If you don't know David Yarra, you do yourself a favor and Google his name and a whole bunch of stuff will come up. But particularly because of my niche, I like to shoot wildlife photography. And the 20mm, initially for me, I thought I would never use this lens. But if you want to take portraits of wildlife and take different portraits, because there's so many wildlife photographers and beautiful images of wildlife these days, that if you want to get something different, you really have to push the limits in terms of what lens and gear you are using. Of course, the creativity is something that you can always try and work on, but the 20mm, because of its close focal distance and that sort of barrel distortion and how wide it is, I would set it up in a remote photography way and have animals walking past the camera and shooting straight up and literally sort of getting the paw coming down like that and shooting right up, David Yarra style, if those of you who probably will know him watching this channel. So that would be how I would use this kind of lens. Now that's a particularly specific way to use the lens, and I hope when travel returns to a little bit of normality, I will have the chance to do that, because I'm so fortunate to travel to locations where those sorts of things are possible. But I wouldn't recommend to a first-time safari goer to take a 20mm lens with them. I would never recommend that. But as a creative, just very similar comments to what I was when I talked about the Noct 58mm f/0.95. The bokeh earrings on that thing were ridiculous. Yes, it's a crazy lens, but it's one of those lenses that breaks boundaries. It gives you something that is so creative, beyond anything that you've understood before. And what most people will have in their bag is that 14 to 30mm f4 or the f2.8 now. So the f1.8, I mean, that's a lot more light that you can get into your lens. So for me, the 20mm has a special place and a special idea. But I'm hoping that I can get out and really test it out on some night skies when we have some clear nights. So stick around for that. And if you're keen, remember, hit the notification bell and it'll send you a notification as soon as I let out, or as soon as I send out the next video. But I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm really hugely thankful for all of you who have stayed this long in the video. I am so happy, Sandeep, if you are watching this, I'm going to be sending out your t-shirt as soon as I can. Let me know. The rest of you, if you're keen on a t-shirt, the masks are coming out as well. I might be doing a giveaway of some Protective CM Travels masks for you. So if you're interested, leave t-shirt comments or face mask comments down below in the comment section, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Once again, it was great to have you. See you next time.